Hey, it's me, Maggie J. Today with a recap and review of the 7th episode of Reservation Dogs Season 2. This one is called Stay Gold, Cheesy Boy, which is what Uncle Charlie yells to Cheese as he's being led away by a SWAT team. Hold on, I'm getting ahead of myself. If you're familiar with high-quality cinema, you'll assume this title is a reference to The Outsiders and that poem they read called Nothing Gold Can Stay. Uncle Charlie and Cheese are enjoying a nice afternoon in the yard, eating chips and drinking Capri Suns. Uncle Charlie asks Cheese, why doesn't he follow him on his socials? He's hitting it big on TikTok. It's funny because it's IRL true. Charlie goes into the house and suddenly here comes the SWAT team out from the backyard with tactical gear and long guns. They bust the front door down, even though it was unlocked, and then throw in a flashbang. Like these are some hardened criminals holding hostages out here. Poor Cheese is held at gunpoint and forced onto the ground, then handcuffed and dragged away to a group home. Apparently Charlie is in trouble for growing weed, but they only brought out 2 plants from his house, and there's like a dozen dispensaries in this town, so what exactly is the fucking crime here, Okern? Whatever. This story is about Cheese, so let's focus on him. Now, he is at a group home, run by a guy named Gene, played by Mark Marone, a comedian who I always get the impression is late to his own execution, so he's in no hurry to run off and do what he's supposed to be doing, but he's gonna be real annoyed about being late, just in general. So there's no good outcome for him, just constant annoyance at a level we can't understand. Gene calls Cheese Chester, his government name, which is actually a pretty sweet nickname origin. Not an embarrassing story he doesn't want to tell others. At this group home, Gene tells him there are no cell phones. He will take them immediately. He's not allowed to leave the property, and everyone has chores to do. Since he's the new guy, Cheese is on bathroom duty, but from the condition of this bathroom, it must have been a while since the home got a new guy because this is disgusting. I cut several minutes of a rant about bathroom habits and general decency here. I know you know what I said, so I saved us both the time. We're welcome. After tackling the ick that was the toilet area, Cheese continues cleaning the bathroom when a guy rushes in, already peeing, then stands in front of the toilet rocking back and forth with the seat down with 0 fucks to give about what he is leaving behind. He didn't even flush. Ew. That night during lights out, Cheese is awakened by the sounds of someone getting a blanket party. The boy from the bathroom jumps up to talk to Cheese on the top bunk, telling him not to snitch them out to Gene, then goes back to the party. Cheese can only lay there and listen while someone gets beat up by some soap surrounded by socks. Meanwhile, on the outside, Jackie saw the SWAT team take down Uncle Charlie and Cheese, so she rides over to Bear's house to let them know, since Elora won't answer her text messages. Bear and Willie Jack are in Bear's front yard. Willie Jack expects a fight, but Jackie is just there to deliver the news about Cheese. Willie Jack offers Jackie 1 free lick to make up for the disrespect towards Jackie's dead brother. Jackie winds up and looks like she's gonna give her a good one to the face, but she stops at the last second and says, "We're good." Aww. I knew she wanted to be friends more than she wanted a fight. She didn't even give Willie Jack 2 for flinching. I love to see it. So these 3 head over to Elora's, who is painting this room with what must be some high-quality paint. Look at that. Tan over purple. No show-through. Nice. Anyway, they walk up to the window and startle her. Bear's not used to using the front door. Elora is surprised to see Jackie is with them, but there's no time to talk about that. Cheese is the reason for this visit. Back at the group home, Tino spends some time talking with Cheese. They're both native, so there's an assumption they'll be more similar than different, but we quickly see Tino is a culmination of some of the worst traits a young man could have. He is the I start peeing before I get to the bathroom guy, so that says a lot about his hygiene, cleanliness, and respect for others that he's lived with for years. He immediately assumes Cheese is gay because he uses pronouns to introduce himself. And Tino is either very stupid or very self-centered because he cannot see outside of himself. He needs simple concepts explained to him, and some things, you can tell, he's never considered anyone else's perspective except his own. He's not the worst person alive, though. He doesn't have issues with any queers. He loves old ladies. He wants to get a job so he can stay out of trouble when he ages out in a few weeks, and he wants to help out with his kids, so he's not all bad. Just a bit misguided, probably due to lack of proper parenting. Oh yeah, Tino's got 2 kids who live with their grandmothers, but likely not his mother. I don't know what else to say about this except I hope that Oklahoma helps their wards in ways not mentioned by the show. Like in Florida, anyone who ages out of the system still receives healthcare benefits from the state for so many years, free in-state college tuition, help securing housing, and continued access to social programs. It's not the greatest system, but there are benefits after going out, so I hope that some of those, and more really, are available in other states. Since the beginning, I've wondered how Cheese could come to live with his Uncle Charley, especially after we met him and found out he's a weed-smoking fool who is more focused on what he wants to do right now than creating a secure future for the boy who lives with him. Throughout this episode, I'm realizing Cheese living with Charley is likely an informal arrangement and kind of just how things wound up being. That would certainly make more sense than thinking that a judge banged a gavel to award Charley smokes a lot with custody of a child. Anyway, Allura shows up at the group home posing as Cheese's auntie, ready to take him home. Jean sees right through this ruse, but still pockets her $20 bribe. She's actually only a distraction so Bear, Willie Jack, and Jackie can help Cheese sneak out of the back of the house. Unfortunately, he's on the 2nd floor and knows that leaving would only cause more trouble for him, so while he appreciates them trying to bust him out, he's not going anywhere. Good thing too, because here comes Jean up the stairs telling Chester he better be up there. Weekly meetings at the group home are mandatory, and today happens to be a meeting day. They all sit in a circle. Jean shares a story of when he was a little shit-ass like them and came home to find his wife in their bedroom with 2 little people and an AM radio DJ. That was when he hit rock bottom and knew he had to get off the drugs. Thanks for sharing, Jean. An easy situation for all these boys to fall into, I'm sure. Jean encourages the rest of the boys to share anything, but they all pass. Cheese can't easily shake off being told what to do, so when Jean tells him he can't pass, he has to share. He does say a few lines about this week, about being arrested for a reason he doesn't understand, put into a poorly funded group home, and he absolutely hates it. A very honest answer. Then Julio kind of hijacks the meeting to complain about Tino's horrendous bathroom habits and getting his socks wet with pee every time he goes into the bathroom. Then it's just Julio and Tino yelling, and that's the end of the meeting. There is a time when the boys can use the phone, but one of them completely monopolizes the entire hour to whisper sweet nothings to his girlfriend, and I'm really surprised this is allowed to happen. Nobody ever has punched this guy in the face for taking up all the phone time? Or everyone just has their own phones that they hide real well from Jean? I'd fight for phone time. Just saying. I'd probably lose for phone time, but I'd still try. Since he can't get on the phone and he just wants to check on his grandma, Julio lends Cheese his phone. Grandma is so adorable and sweet. At first, she acts like she doesn't know who he is. Then she invites him over because she misses him. Aww. And he is such a nice boy. He doesn't even tell her what he's going through. He called to make sure that she wouldn't worry about him not showing up. He can't then tell her he's in a group home. She probably knows what happens at group homes. He can't put that stress on her. And that's why this is so mature for him to understand at his age. This scene tore my heart out, thinking about when is the last time someone talked to Cheese like this? Has he known love like this before? And how did he not cry during all this? He is a strong boy, that's for sure. Later that night, the police show up and Jean takes them into the bunk room to arrest one of the boys while he's still asleep in the bed. Jethro starts yelling, "All cops are diddlers," as he's let out of the room. All the boys have witnessed what is happening, and this is likely very scary for them to be so abruptly reminded that they are at the mercy of the authorities at all times. Jean tells them he's triggered by this and is going to need some snacks. He lets them all go downstairs. While they're at the table, Tino, Julio, and Cheese discuss their opinion on cops. Tino and Julio are more aggressive. They have planned what they want to say to cops when they get arrested. Cheese has a very different approach, though. He says his tactic is to be nice, to let them think that he's on their side. He tells them about the time he and his friends stole a chip truck. Then he convinced the investigating cop to take him on a ride-along to see how it was going. Thinking back to episode 5 of season 1, is Cheese some kind of mastermind who made sure the other officer wouldn't be available available for the ride-along that day? I have so many reasons to go back and rewatch season 1. Anyway, while continuing to talk, Tino mentions his kids, that they're the reason he wants to get a job before he leaves there, so he can try to be a better person for them to rely on. Julio, who has lived with Tino for almost 2 years, didn't know he had kids and was actually looking for a job all those times he asked Julio to hook him up. All thanks to Cheese talking like a white girl's Instagram posts. Julio asks why he talks like that. Cheese explains life is hard for a lot of people. If he treats everyone the way that they want to be treated, maybe they'll do the same for others, eventually. These are deep words for these boys to absorb. You can tell at least Julio is taking them to heart. Then it's lights out again. The next day, I think this is the 3rd day Cheese has been at the group home, Officer Big shows up and tells Cheese to get his stuff together. He gives him no time to actually do that before he cuffs him and leads him to the patrol car. Then Big uncuffs him and lets him ride in the front seat. Cheese is on his way to his new placement. And it's at his grandma's house. All of his friends are there to help welcome him home, wearing free Cheese t-shirts. And that is the end of the episode. What a journey for our young Cheese to go through. I don't want to call it wonderful because this is likely very traumatizing, despite him not getting upset. He was held at gunpoint, arrested, forced to move into a jail-like setting, called by his government name against his wishes, threatened several times by people he has to live with, learned that he could be stuck at that group home situation for years while he is powerless to advocate for himself and clueless as to what is even happening. He's made aware violence could occur at any time, even while he sleeps. There is no safety, no security. He is at the mercy of those around him and above him at all times, even if he is a nice boy and follows the rules. Everything can change in an instant. Any of these situations alone could cause changes within a person forced to go through them. At least Gene, the guy who runs the home, seems like a good advocate. He has his rules, and he might be a hard ass, but he is reading a book on string theory, and who else have we seen interested in that? People who seem to be very good at understanding these kids? Maybe? Maybe. Maybe just me. This is a tough job, though, and not all these kids are Julios and Cheeses. I think Gene is doing the best he can for these boys while making sure he keeps his job. I might be alone in this, but go back and watch the scene where Tino and Cheese are at the picnic table and Tino is talking about his kid. Doesn't he sound just like Pumpkin back in episode 4 of season 1 when Pumpkin is talking to someone in the gas station about his kids? Tino is not 100% sure how old his kids are, and they don't live with him, but he's quick to brag about them and pull out a photo. I hope he's a much better father than Pumpkin. At least Tino seems like he wants to be there, so high hopes for that, I guess. Something we weren't much aware of before this was Cheese's interest in drawing. We get a chance to see inside his notebook during this episode, and this thing is full of drawings and messages from his friends, including Daniel, so this must be something Cheese has been carrying around for a while. What a very cool, priceless artifact of someone's life. Overall, I give this 4 stars because I really enjoyed what happened here. It wasn't as bad or as sad as it could have been, and ultimately, Cheese is now living with his grandma, which is where he should be, and hopefully his time spent as a ward of the state won't have lasting effects on him. I guess we won't be seeing Uncle Charley around much anymore. I'm kind of surprised he made it into so many episodes this season. More than Big, even more than Mose and Miko. Who does Nathan Apodaca know in the production room? I'm just kidding. I love seeing him on here. They didn't ask too much of him. He played the role very well. He is from Oklahoma, I think, and they're not just glomming onto his fame since his peak was a while ago. But the real star here is Cheese, who continues to inspire hope for the future with his gentle ways. I think he made an impact on at least 2 of these boys at the group home, and he was only there for a few days. Imagine if more people approached the world in that way. That is mostly all that I have to say about this. Thank you so much for watching. Please leave a like or a comment, or even subscribe so you won't miss out on the next recap and review of Reservation Dogs, or anything else I decide to talk about. Halloween, Native American Heritage Month, and the end of the year holidays are all coming up, and I have plans for videos to produce during this time. Fingers crossed, I will have the time and wherewithal to keep up with my ambition. Until next time, y'all stay safe out there.